We got LSU coming up, but right now it's time to find out, learn a little bit about the Florida Gators. Joining us from Gainesville, WRUF in Gainesville, sports talk show host, great guy, friend of the show, Steve Russell joins us here on the New Sentinel Sports page. Steve, Vince, and John Adams, how you doing, Steve?
Guys, always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we appreciate it. Let's jump right in. What have you been able to learn about this Florida Gators football team throughout camp that might impact your impression or our listeners' impression of this Gators team in 2012?
Well, I'm going to be, as always, brutally honest.
Yep.
Not much. And here's why. We don't get to see practice. Now, there is an open practice tomorrow. It's the only chance we'll have. Now, if you listen to the coaches, if you listen to the players, obviously they're not going to say, boy, we really stink and we're bad. You know, everything's improved. But I have seen three things that do stick out. One is the new strength coach, Dillman, has done a nice job, at least on the hoof, with these guys. When Meyer was here, he ran a spread. He wanted, in his words, the fastest team in America. Well, that's not what Will Muschamp wants. He wants speed, of course, but he's more of an Alabama type of guy offensively. Bigger linemen, downhill running, bigger backs. That's what they're going to recruit to. So there is a physical difference in this team. That's one. Two, the offense, at least that I can see, is not going to be a whole lot different unless the offensive line, which was bad last year, gets better. A lot of guys are back. Is that good or is that bad? I think they'll be better, and I think the offense will be a little bit better, but not appreciably, not SEC caliber, not Florida caliber, certainly. And the third thing that I've seen is there is no doubt in my mind this defense is going to be really, really good. Can they get takeaways? They didn't get takeaways. They finished horribly in turnover margin a year ago. If they can get some takeaways and help the offense and give them a short field, they might do better than what people think. Those three things really stick out to me.
Steve, from a distance, a couple of questions I would have, and you might could address these. One's at cornerback. I don't have a sense of Florida having a big-time cover guy. Maybe it does. I just don't know about him yet. And also going back to that offensive line and maybe the offense in general, there are just so many highly rated recruits in that offense that it still amazes me that Florida seems to be wondering about its offense at this juncture still.
Let's start with the corner. It's funny, John. That's a position that Will Muschamp really feels very strongly about. Now, is there a Janoris Jenkins here, a shut-down corner? No. But there's four guys basically battling for two spots. The Roberson kid last year was a freshman, really promising player, and got hurt. I think he's going to end up being a starter. Riggs over there got some playing time last year as well. They've got four guys there that they're pretty comfortable with, and I think they can interchange at corner. Pop Saunders also as a fifth corner can play some safety, so that's a pretty good position for them. Now, when you talk about some of these 4- and 5-star guys, some have not panned out. That's just the way it's been. Others, like Jawan Story, 4-star guy, 5-star guy, said, I don't fit here. Florida's had some of that. They've had some of those guys that Meyer recruited leave here. So what do you have left? You have Frankie Hammond. You have Amarius Hines, who've been here forever. Jordan Reed, who a highly rated recruit that's been hurt a lot. There is so much of a question mark, John, with the receivers to me. I just don't see in that group a guy that says, oh, my gosh, you have to game plan, and that spells trouble.
Steve, also on the offense, a player that's gotten so much recognition in the offseason, and it kind of surprised me, again, looking at it from a distance. Florida even brought Mike Gillislee to SEC Media Days there in Hoover. You were there as well. I've always felt like, I know Urban Meyer wanted speed, and I know how the offense was designed, but nobody pushes away some power running back who can convert those third downs. I haven't really seen Mike Gillislee as a guy that I think could be a top-of-the-line SEC running back, and curious for your take on him.
I agree with some of that, John, and some I don't in this sense. When Gillislee is healthy, when he's been given a chance, he's run the ball pretty effectively. And I think right now, even as a senior, he is their best back. However, where I do agree with you 100% is that he's been hurt all the time. He's never, even in a limited role, he's been hurt a lot. So what's going to happen if he's asked to carry the ball 15, 20, 22, 25 times? I don't see that. I think Gillislee is, without question, the top running back they've got. He's number one on the depth chart. Who's number two? Great question. You know, Mac Brown was a highly rated guy. He's only a redshirt sophomore. It seems like he's been here longer than that. He's never panned out. He's looked very good from what I understand in camp. Jones, a freshman, has looked good. He's more of the back that Muschamp's looking for in terms of, 6'2", 215. And then Chris Johnson, who was at running back, went to linebacker. He's back now at running back too. And he, again, even though he's only 5'9", he's about 210, kind of a bowling ball kind of guy. So I think it's going to be by committee. Gillislee gets the majority of the carries, but he will not, in my opinion, be a 25-carry guy.
Steve, we got less than a minute. What's the situation at quarterback? And then bottom line this season, with schedule, all things included?
Well, I'm sure you know about the Driscoll fiasco and what happened with all those media reports that were false about his injury. He has a contusion in his shoulder, which is going to limit him a little bit in terms of contact. What scares me here is that Brissett or Driscoll have not separated themselves. Muschamp does not want to have two quarterbacks. If that happens, fellas, I think both quarterbacks play in the opener against Bowling Green, and maybe that will be the separating thing. But right now, neither has separated from the other. Maybe the injury to Driscoll gives Brissett a little bit of a heads up. We'll see.
Steve, always appreciate it. We can keep you a lot longer, but we got to run, and always appreciate you. WRUF in Gainesville. Steve, have a great weekend, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That is Steve Russell. Does a fantastic job covering the Florida Gators and keeping it real. He is